our Reach tip webinar is going to be based on how to use that brand new quick entry function in Reach. Hopefully you guys have started to see it now. I believe they added it in near the beginning of the year this year. We've kind of been a little behind the ball, but we want to make sure to get out this webinar so you guys could learn how to use this. And hopefully it makes your life easier when it comes to Reach entries. So today's webinar is going to be very informal. We're going to be bouncing probably through Reach a decent amount. It's not intended to be super long today because we're really just focusing on the quick entry function. And that's basically what we're going to cover. So I see we have a little bit of a mix. So the first thing we're going to start out with today is just getting you guys to see what it looks like. And by that, I mean, we're going to jump right into Reach here. Hopefully this will look very familiar to you. This is our demo page. So there's going to be a little bit of crazy things down here probably in the descriptions. But the main thing I want to focus on today is what we're talking about, and that's our quick entry function. This is the button. It's bright red near the top right-hand corner for you, so it's very easy to find. And the basics behind the quick entry function is going to be a quick way for you to get data into the system. And what I mean by data into the system is it's going to save it as a draft for you to finish then at a later date. So it's not necessarily going to add an entry when you use this function, but it will add an entry as a draft for you to then come back and complete at a later date. Because we know you guys as Coalition staff, maybe your members are even using it, you don't have a lot of time. You might have just completed an activity for the Coalition, but you're not, you don't have 10 minutes to sit down and do your Reach entries for it really quick. So this just provides you a quick way to fill something out, to know you have to come back to it later, to hopefully help you, eliminate the entries getting lost in your head, forgetting to record something, that type of stuff. So that's kind of the basics behind this function. And a lot of you were asking for some type of draft abilities within Reach, and that's going to be the driving factor behind this. So when we click on our quick entry button, it's going to look very similar to adding a new entry into an accomplishment outputs, except it's going to be a lot shorter. So it's literally just going to be these top 4 things: our date, who's recording it, our description, the output type, and then our logic model attachment here. The nice thing here is the date. Again, we have our lovely calendar, so pretty basic there. Same thing you would do as a normal entry. You'd enter the date that this happened. So maybe if I had an event this morning that I want to make sure to not forget about, I could put in today's date. Next thing, I would select my name from the dropdown. Today I'm going to be Jane Smith. And then I just write myself a quick brief description. And for your quick entry drafts here, you can write very basic descriptions because remember, these are drafts. These are not your actual entry yet. They're not going to be scored at this point. So I could literally write in something as simple as at a meeting with school principal. And that at least will remind me later, oh yes, Jessica, remember you have to go in and finish that entry about the school principal where you talked about blah, 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 and I'd add the rest of my entry later. So that is going to be a lot easier for you folks who, you don't have enough time. You just want to write a quick snippet in so you remember to finish it later. The output, very familiar, same thing as your Reach entries under accomplishment outputs. It's going to be your 5 different output types. So, was this a community action? Was this a community change? Media, resource generated, whatever I need to record this as, we're going to select one. Unfortunately, in the quick entry function, you can only select one output type. Hopefully all of you should know that when you're entering stuff under the regular accomplishment output section, you can add more than one of these at once. But it's really easy to add more later on. You have your copy button and so on. So it'll look a lot different once you get into the actual entry. This is just your draft format, so it's only going to let you select one. Hopefully I haven't lost anyone yet. Let me know if you guys do have any questions. Feel free to put them in the chat. And then the last section here, like I said, is aligning our logic model. So I'm going to say that, my meeting with the principal was to talk about a new policy around tobacco vaping. So I'm going to make sure to put this under tobacco and then add this as my draft. Down below, the system will then list all of my draft entries that I have, or my quick entries that I then will need to finish later. So these are all the ones I still need to finish and add into the system. So in order to finish those, now you're saying, how do I get to that? Because when I click here, it's just gonna pull back up my quick entry for me, which doesn't do anything, right? What we'd have to do is you'd have to exit out of here and come down to this nice little pop-up where it says Manage Open Drafts. This is going to take me to the screen to finish my entries and manage my drafts, essentially, right? The one that I just entered was this one right here. So we're gonna go ahead and finish this one off. And what you have to do is come over to the plus sign. So now it's in draft mode. So now we want to actually add it as a new entry under our accomplishment output section. So we're going to click on the add button. And this is going to open it up into the full data entry form. So hopefully, this looks familiar. So it's really nice in the perspective for all you guys who are busy, don't have enough time to finish an entry right away. The quick entry function allows you to just put in your couple pieces of information and then come back later. And now I can, say to talk about new tobacco vaping policy and add, more information here and whatnot, and that type of stuff. We'll continue on with my entry. If this is more than one output type, I can then select here my different output types that I want to select. So it will allow you to add multiple outputs for this draft, but for purposes of the draft function, it will only have you select one. But then once you get in here to finish entering it, you can select multiples. So that's going to be nice. The other thing is we're going to have you continue to fill out your logic model alignment and then all of your other sections here for your entry. I'm going to finish filling this in while you guys have time to pop any questions in. Actually, let's go with that. We're just going to go with that. No one has any questions so far? Okay. Well, I just want to finish this one so I can show you what it would look like. Once it is added. Well, maybe if I can spell, that'd be great. All right, so we're gonna add this like we would any other entry. Again, we have our copy, add new button here. And then we're gonna notice it will no longer be in our open drafts. So now we know that it has actually been added to our accomplishment output list for our scorer to review. And we know it's now part of the rest of our data set. That is really the basics of how the draft function works. The one thing that I really wanted to hit on as well with the quick entry draft function that we now have is if anyone in your coalition, maybe you have a really active coalition member who does a lot of work for the coalition and they do, they fill out their timesheets, their volunteer sheets. An easy way around that could be setting up a volunteer login for Reach and having them trained in how to use this quick entry function so they can do these by themselves, and then you as a staff member can come in and just have to finish them off by managing the drafts and editing them. We have seen a lot of coalitions who have really wanted to start using this because they do have a lot of active members who are good at tracking their time, their data. They're doing plenty of stuff for the coalition and they want to make sure that they're getting that data into Reach and not losing it. So we have had some of our clients come to us and say, hey, now that we have this opportunity to use this data quick entry function, this is easy for my coalition members to use because it's only 4 things they have to fill in, and then me being the staff, I can fill it in and fill in the gaps later. And if that's something you guys want to have a quick little session on with your members, you can feel free to show them this video on how to use it. If you want to actually have a Zoom meeting personally for your coalition and your maybe few members you want to know how to use it, we can do that as well. There's a lot of different options we could do there, so feel free to contact your evaluator, whether it's Deacon Kelly or any of us here at ECS, we can help you out with that as well. But with that, is there any other questions? You guys don't want me to go back, show anything else? Like I said, today was going to be really short and concise. We just wanted to walk through it, make sure you knew how the functionality of it worked. You can add as many drafts as you want. I did have that question the other day. Just make sure that if you're doing that though, you are eventually then finishing them and moving them to your actual list of accomplishment outputs. Because like I said, if it's in your drafts, us as the scorer, we will not see them. We will not see them at all. So you do have to make sure you're finishing those in order for us to score them and record them with your data for things like your reports and things like that. So with that, if no one has any other questions, concerns, that is kind of all I had today. With that, guys, I do not have anything else for you today. Feel free to send me an email if you want more information on the quick entry, or you maybe want to hop on Zoom and have kind of a one-on-one with someone here at ECS about it just to make sure you fully understand it. We can do that as well. But yeah, feel free to let me know if you guys have any questions. And this video will be up on our member portal within the next day. So if you want to share it with other staff members of your coalition, you'll be able to do that as well. And with that, guys, thank you and have a great rest of your day.